What up, what up? This is your boy Checo.
This is your boy Noe. What up?
And this is Compas Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening, for watching. Make sure you guys follow all of our social media, subscribe and like.
And make sure you go rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you drop a comment on YouTube. Like and subscribe.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the episode. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have a cat.
You have a
I
cat?
have a cat. Her name is Frida. I was just telling him that it's after Frida Kahlo. So
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. How is that? Like, do you leave like a pet sitter or anything like that?
my
Because
parents, los abuelitos, my parents are like the little fur grandparents. So
oh,
they
okay,
take
so when
care
you
of-
leave to Springfield or anywhere, like that's
Yeah.
where you drop them off at.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So she got adjusted, and
And they're cat
She's
people?
comfortable. Oh, they're cat people.
no, they weren't. I made them cat people. My dad, especially, like he's a traditional Latino man, so it's like dogs and cats belong in the street,
Outside.
like outside,
Yeah.
not inside the house. And eventually, I just came with a cat, and I was like, "Hey, here's a cat." And then
But now they like it. Or
my
they,
dad, yeah, it's like, "Oh, hola bonita, how are you, precious?" And I'm like, it's
No
like,
que no.
to me. And then I look at my dad. I was like, to the cat. I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." But
Because you heard them when you walked in. I have two dogs,
yeah.
and the other day, bro, I walk them in the morning before I go to work. There was a skunk. So I've ran into like raccoons, possums, or whatever. My dogs want to like chase it. And I'm like, no, let's just keep going. This skunk started chasing us.
Oh,
It was the scariest thing for me. I've never ran so fast with my dogs, bro, in my life, bro. Like that thing was just charging, and then I turned back. I'm like, he's probably gonna like stop after like a block. That thing kept going.
Oh my god.
Their things are vicious, bro.
Are they though?
I don't know. Well, it scared me.
Maybe.
I thought they're supposed to be scared of us.
Supposedly, but apparently not. But now we have mountain lions not that far away. Did
Really?
you guys hear
Here?
about that?
No.
Yeah. In I-88, in DuPage County area, was the
Was
mountain lion
spotted?
was crossing the street or the highway and got killed by a car. Yeah, and the
Whoa.
state trooper actually. There's pictures on Facebook about this cat, huge cat that was on I-88. So not that far away from us.
Do you think probably someone had it and like
Yeah, I don't
maybe
like
as a
know.
pet?
Let it out in the
I don't
wild.
know, because I know they're rare. They are rare. There's, I think, maybe a few in Illinois, and that was, of course, one of them. But it was just surprising to see.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, that it was super close to us. It's like, be careful. We have to be careful with coyotes when it comes to little small animals, but now mountain lions.
Yeah,
That is something that I was wondering. I mean, at the same time, I think it all happens with the environment, where the environment's changing. Mother Nature, climate change is a thing, and we're kind of leaving these animals homeless in a way. And so they tend to start coming to our areas because they don't know anywhere else to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But is that like I wonder if mountain lions are like common like north from us? Maybe that's why they're coming down. You would think?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Man,
don't
we're
know.
That's
not,
a good. I'm
we're
not
not
sure.
experts, man. We're not gonna say anything. People are
I don't
gonna be
know.
like fake news, bro.
I see a lot of the. I think I mentioned it before on the. I have the Ring camera, so people just keep posting stuff like coyotes or a fox, or I'm like, oh my, I gotta turn these notifications off because they
Yes.
just keep putting stuff on. Oh, my dog or my pet, and I'm like, man, but it's constant,
It is.
and that's by us, and it's pretty populated. So
Yeah.
But it doesn't get you like. So do you get like actual video or you just get
yeah,
messages?
they'll post a video of it, so
you don't
can
be
click
clicking
on
through
it.
them?
I mean, if it says it attacked my dog, I want to see that. But most of them,
That's messed up, bro.
I know, but the light will just come on, and then it'll just realize that it's being recorded. Or, the light came on, it gets spooked, and it'll just kind of run away. It's not like the dog's never being attacked, but I can see it happening.
Yeah, for sure.
But no,
Right.
it's just annoying. The notifications,
The notification?
lost dog, lost cat, fox
Yeah.
spotted, or coyote spotted, and it's like, all right.
Pero es para que ayudes, güey.
That is true. I'm thinking about my kids going to school. Like, yeah, it's probably good to know.
I feel
But-
bad when I get a Ring notification and it's like, oh, I'm sorry for whoever lost their cat. And I'm like, oh, like when I think lost, it's like they're roaming around somewhere. And they're like, no, they got run over by a car. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's sad.
That's messed up. Why would they start off the news like that?
It's like, I hope your cat wasn't the one that was run over. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to think about that.
You go check for Frida? Like, all right,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like, you're good.
Frida is a stay-at-home cat. I don't let her go anywhere.
So here's a question for you. Did you declaw the cat?
No, actually, I want to make a legislation that will ban declaw of cats.
We're
I
gonna
think
write
that's
that
good.
down.
Yeah. Because it's inhumane how they do it. It's up to their knuckles. So they cut not only their nail, but up to their knuckles. So it's very painful. And I mean, if you let your cat roam around, it won't be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
So that's another thing as well.
So you're working on that already?
I am working on that right now. And hopefully, I mean, we're probably going to present it in 2023. But we're doing the research and the studies on what are some special cases that maybe decline might happen. So if the animal is sick or it's a medical condition, like, okay, make sure they declaw the cat. But we don't want, what we're trying to prevent is anyone who just says, you know what, they're ruining my furniture.
Right.
Like, that's not a real reason. Like, that's something that you can probably train your cat, make sure you cut their nails every month. And so on. If you don't want to cut their nails, send them to a vet or like a cat spa.
Store.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do that. But there's no need to declaw the cat.
What do you think the probability of that law passing?
I don't know. I heard that in the past they had some difficult time passing it through, but just a year ago, actually, just a year ago, we were able to pass legislation to ban puppy mills. So the fur babies in the mall,
Yeah.
and Petland and all that, all those stores, like, they're not supposed to be open. I know fur babies and here in Aurora, they're still open because they found a loophole. But currently, we're trying to close that loophole. So because, as we know, puppy mills it's a business. It's not to take care of the animal or because they want to protect the animal. It's just to make money. They don't care if the animal is sick or anything. And then the financing part of it, sometimes they charge you a lot more than the puppy. They might charge you like 10% of a financing, and it's a lot more than you wanted. So the puppy overall might be like $6,000. And you could go to the animal shelter and adopt an animal for $100.
Yeah.
And, they might need rescue. And that's what I did for Frida. I got her from the animal shelter in Aurora, and it was only $100.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just because our first dog, we wanted to get him a brother. We wanted to get him a little sibling or whatnot. And we actually did go to like one of these fur babies or whatever it was called. It was like 12 grand, bro.
Yeah, they're insane.
12 grand. And they're like, oh, but we can give you a discount. And I'm like, what's the discount? Like 99% off? Because like, this is crazy.
Right.
No. And it was like $500 off.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And then like, oh, but you can finance. And I'm like, I'm not going to finance a pet, bro. Like,
Right.
this is crazy. And then on top of that, like, I feel like they don't do proper like care. And they say they go through like this whole process of like going to a vet and whatnot. And I'm like, but you hear so many stories like where they do come out like very sick,
Yeah.
Right.
Because they do all the deworming there. I mean, they're there to make money.
Yeah.
So they're gonna give them all the deworming and everything that a vet would do professionally. They're having their employees do. I mean, this is regular people,
Right.
Yeah.
I would take the kids there to pet the dogs all the time, So that was their like the highlight of going to the mall was my kids wanted to go to the furry. So
Furry
thanks
babies,
to you, they closed.
Well, not yet.
No,
not
not
yet.
yet. They're still open.
They're still
They're
open,
still open.
but
I don't
we're
think the
working
one
on
in
it.
Stratford is closed.
No, I think there's 3 overall in Illinois.
Oh,
that
okay.
are still
Still
open.
open?
But Happiness Pets was supposed to open close to the mall. They definitely shut down after that bill.
Okay.
Other stores, Petland, I think, is pretty much shutting down. Or they have an option. They can sell animals that are like rescue animals. But I'm assuming they don't want that because they know they won't make money.
No,
from
they want
that.
the cute,
Yeah.
expensive dogs. I
Right.
think when I went there, they had the English Bulldog there. I think they wanted $8,000 for it. I want to say
Wow.
something like that. And I was like, what? Put the dog down, son.
Like, not that one.
not any of them. We walked out of there. We would just take them to go pet the dogs, go
Right.
pet the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was it. But that's pretty cool. So no declawing and no fur babies, fur baby
babies,
stores.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's introduce our guest, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
So yes, I'm re-recording this just because I didn't give my guest a proper introduction. She's born and raised in Aurora, the youngest Latina to be a state representative for Illinois, Barbara Hernandez.
Or should I say it in Spanish? Barbara Hernandez.
Yeah,
Welcome to Compas Unfiltered. Thank you
Welcome.
for coming
Thank
in.
What do
for
you
accepting
prefer?
the-
having me. Barbara's fine.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't use it as often because of my job, of course. A lot of people are like, what do you mean, Barbara? Like they can't roll their R's. And
So you're like, oh, Barb.
yeah.
Do they say that? Like
they call me
like
Barb, and I dislike it so much. I hate it when people call me Barb.
Why?
I imagine Barbara Walters,
Mm.
an older lady. And she's amazing. She's a great journalist, but that's what I think about it.
And you're like,
And
no.
No, I'm like, no. I feel like they're also making my name sound more Caucasian. And of course, that's not who I am. And I'm proud of the name that I have. I mean, I was named after my grandmother, Barbara Isabel Hernandez, my both grandmothers, and they both have strong characters. So I want to live their legacy from that. But yeah, that's why I prefer Barbara overall. But I know some people can't maybe pronounce the R. So Barbara's fine. But when they shorten up to Barb, it's like, no, what are you doing?
Do you correct people or no?
I do sometimes. I do. Like, especially as they're close friends. I'm like, no, Barb. Barbara is fine. Yeah.
So let's. We want to know a little bit more about you. I know you were born and raised in Aurora.
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, we listened to the other pod that you were on, and both me and my compa Noe, we found it like very interesting. I think your story definitely relates to like a lot of Latinos, a lot of Mexicans, like how your parents came over here, and which that's exactly how like my parents came here. They actually came like on a visa type of thing, like so. But then I think once they were here, arreglaron, in one way or another, arreglaron. We're still here, you know what I mean? So we're good. But and that's how you guys came.
Not just play.
Don't come for me, bro. But yeah, but it's I like that part of your story. And you just tell us more about your family, more about yourself. How you guys came? You're from the DF. We found that out as well.
Yes. Yeah,
so from the DF, Memorial Day, right? That's like
Memorial
when you guys
Day,
came.
Yeah. My dad did not know it was Memorial Day. Back in 1992, my mom was 6 months pregnant with me. They came with like I think a few luggages, not a lot, maybe 2. And my mom had to hide her pregnancy because it was 6 months. And during that time frame, I don't know now, but the doctors would recommend like if you're 6 months along, like maybe don't fly, don't
travel.
Yeah, don't travel that much. But she wore a big shirt to hide her pregnancy, and she arrived in Memorial Day with my dad. And they were asking around, like, "Hey, why is it so empty? Is the streets always this empty?" It's like, no, it's because it's a holiday. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And they arrived in Aurora. They had a few friends actually here that they met through my uncle, because my uncle was traveling back and forth to like Los Angeles, to Chicago, and different places, and eventually met a family and was like, "Hey, can you host my brother?" And we were there for 13 years. We lived in the house, well, upstairs, not even in the house. I was like upstairs in a little apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment. And my brother, my family, we all lived under like 1 bedroom.
So this was like a duplex type of building?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was actually a man-made duplex. As we've seen that in the Latino community, it's like not really
like customized.
Yeah, it's customized. Like it technically was a whole one house, but they just like made several walls and added an entrance, and that's your
They made it work.
Yeah, that's your area. So that's what we would do.
Have you been back to that place?
No, I haven't. I sometimes do pass like outside of the place and just like see how it's changed throughout the years. Because I mean I was born and raised there, so I have a lot of pictures from that place. But I do tend to just take a look from the outside and remember. And it's of course a very emotional moment when I do that, because I do want to go inside sometimes and see how it changed, because I think that's something that people don't realize in the Latino community. It's sometimes you're in one room with your parents, with everybody in there. Sometimes
Yeah.
multiple families in there, right? Whenever my grandparents from Mexico, from my dad's side, would come to visit, I mean, they
It's
would have,
jam-packed.
they would have to either stay in our bedroom when we're all there, or they would take over the living room. But overall, I mean, it was just a small place, and I don't know how we made it work. Eventually, my parents were like, you know what? It's time. It's time for us to buy a house. And this was when they were undocumented. So they were trying to figure out, like, how do we buy a house?
Yeah.
And they bought a house not that far away from here, actually, when I was 13, and we moved. And that was like one of the biggest moments for my parents, because like independence, no landlords. Nobody would come and knock on the door saying, "Hey, your children are running around your house," and my children below are very they're sleeping. It was, and then my mom would have to have that conversation, like, "Hey, I know you want to run your kids, right? But you can't like sit down and just do some work or read or something."
Get creative.
Yeah,
Yeah, it gets tough.
it is. Yeah,
Those times are tough.
it is.
Did you ever because at least myself,
Uh-huh.
we lived in like an apartment type of duplex type of building as well. It was 2 bedrooms, and I actually had to sleep in the hallway. Like that was my bedroom. Like the
Oh.
hallway was like my bedroom. That shit was crazy. My sister's
Man, that
I have
sucks.
it does, but like that's what you got to do, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's where I had like my little like it's a twin bed, but it was like a
Foldable.
yes.
Okay.
Almost
So you
like
could put it
almost
away?
like a cot, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like that's what I had. Like
Yeah.
that's that's how we came up.
It builds character though, dude.
It does
Like,
build
Kinda,
character.
I
yeah.
feel like those things definitely build character, give you a personality, and sometimes you run into stuff that's real tough and you're like, man, I've been through tougher,
Yeah.
and it kind of helps you move along in life. I mean, that's the way I see it.
For sure. And I do pass by every now and then as well, like by my old house or whatever. And we passed by the other day.
There.
We had gone to go eat at Birreria Ocotlan. And I had told my compa, no, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, that's my house. And he's like, oh, that's nice. And then he saw the neighborhood. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't want to be here.
That's true. That's very true. I said,
But,
keep going, don't stop.
Like, yeah, like, no, don't stop here. Like, no,
No,
we're
but
good.
it's the need. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the need. At least you had a home and we had a roof, and
100%.
so yeah, so that's all I counted for my family. But now, I mean, we have a house, and you have a house, and you're able to have a better life for your family as
Of
well.
course, yeah.
So I think that's the goal, and that was my parents' goal, and then
Yeah.
now we're here.
How was growing up here? Like a little bit kind of fast forward. I'm more interested in like in that high school. Did you go to East?
I did.
How
did
was
go to
that?
East. It was challenging. I was very shy growing up. I was very. Besides shy, I think it was because of my parents knowing that they were undocumented. My parents were always like, "Hey, don't tell people. Like, be quiet. Don't tell anyone, because you never know."
Right.
Someone would have said something, and it's like, "Hey, like, she has a family that are undocumented, and call ICE," right? And this was years ago, decades ago, and before anyone would talk about undocumented or be open about it. So growing up, it was in high school. I felt like I had to be quiet about it, but also help people. And that's where I think I found myself a little bit more on what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a pastry chef for the longest time. I love pastries. And then after a while, I was like, yeah, this is not maybe something I want to do. And I've been told before that they saw me in leadership. And I was like, how does that pay the bills? Like, what is leadership?
Right.
What does that mean? And then eventually I was like, oh, you can be a politician. You can do this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like politicians. I'm not a fan of that. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I can be a politician, but show people that I can be different, that I'm not the typical old individual, white male politician that is just there for themselves and for their family, and that's it. I wanted to show people that, and especially in Aurora, that I was I was different that I wanted to do and help my community. Growing up in Aurora, I mean, it was challenging because people would tell you that, you're going to get shot, you're going to be in gangs, there's going to be drugs. I went to Waldo Middle School. I remember that in Waldo, I got very scared from people just saying that. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to Waldo. I remember my dad was advocating to take me out of Waldo. I was like, I want her to go to another school. And I was crying because I was like, I don't want to get shot. And it was very emotional. And that was me as a sixth grader, not knowing what's going on. But I heard from my friends, I heard everybody's like, hey, Easter is bad. That's what people would say. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be here in Waldo. I'm going to make sure that I surround myself with positive people and good friends. My family was always there as well to show up. My dad would randomly show to my classes in the middle of the day. Like he would show up and and I could see the teacher and the dean talking. It's like, we have a visitor here. They want to chaperone today. And it's like, oh, okay, who is it? And it's Barbara's dad. And I was like, oh no. I was like, trágame tierra. Like, no, I don't want this. And my dad would sit in the back and just see how I was as a student. Like, is she interacting? Is she not doing her work? What is she doing? Because I was in bilingual for the most of my school career until I was in sixth grade. And then I went to
English.
sheltered, I guess, classes, and then transferred to only English by seventh grade. But my dad would show up and just make sure that nobody was picking on me, no bullying was going on, that I was doing my work, that teachers were, helping me out. I felt the pressure there, of course. My dad would also take me to the door of the school and be like, okay, here you're going in. My mom, even in high school, would still walk me to school. They picked a house close by to East Aurora so they can walk me to school.
No way.
Yeah. And so
I
I
was super involved.
Yeah, they were.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what does your dad do for a living?
He works two jobs. He's a warehouse mechanic, and he works at O'Reilly's, or I think it's still O'Reilly's.
Like a parts,
Lake Street.
car
Yeah.
parts? Okay.
Yeah.
And he would make time to go to your class and chaperone.
Yeah. He would just show
That
up.
is super, super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say now it's cool, but back then I was not. I was like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed.
You think the kids now are okay with that?
No.
I think
I don't
no.
know.
They still think it's lame. No.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
my nieces, bro, they're like that. They
don't.
kind of want to be on their own, but then they don't want to be on their own because of social media, and they do see stuff like that. Like, I might get shot.
Yeah.
So it's like they do act like, I want to be my own, but then they see stuff like that. They're like, I'm just gonna stay home.
Yeah.
So for sure, but I still think they see it the same way. Like, it's kind of, they don't want their parents there.
Well, quick side note: it's not as easy as it was back then to go into chaperone in a classroom.
Right.
So now you get a background check.
Right.
Yeah. Which I didn't know, but my wife, called in and said, I want to sit in on the class, and they were like, okay, background check coming soon. Well,
That's good though, right?
Of course, based on what's going on now, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a sidebar.
No, yeah, for sure.
But no, like my dad would go that day and be like, I want to be in her class. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, things were so different in the 90s.
Yeah.
He probably showed his ID or whatever. And
and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Well, good thing that things changed though, because of,
Yeah, because of crazy people.
Yeah, crazy, really crazy people. So I want to get into how you got into politics. I know you did an internship, right?
I did. With Linda Chapalavia. She was the state representative before me. I did an internship after high school. She was actually the one that told me, I see you as a leader. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what that means. Like my dad told me before, he's like, yeah, you should go for leadership stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that, Dad. And I went to her office one day, and it was 2 weeks before high school graduation. And I was like super certain I wanted to do pastry chef. And then that day I was like, yeah, maybe not. I don't want to do this anymore. And she canceled all her meetings, took me to Wabansi Community College, and we talked to an advisor, and they actually enrolled me in political science classes that day. And after that, she's like, hey, do you want to intern for my office? And I said, yes. I was there almost a year, and she offered me a job with her, and I was there with her ever since. for 8 years, the next 8 years. And then she left in 2019 to become Director of Veterans Affairs. And I was appointed to her role in 2019. So, but I mean, honestly, I got involved in politics because of my family. Mainly because I saw the injustices that were going on with everything that we talked about, like the housing, the healthcare, the immigration items, and so on. So that's what I decided to get involved in politics, and eventually I found out there's more things than just immigration that is needed to be done. And that's when I was like, okay, you know what? Let me get involved in a rural township trustee. I lost by 10 votes, but I was 20 years old when I did that. But I learned a lot from losing. And then in 2016, I tried again, won in King County Board as the youngest King County Board member at 24. And 2019, I became the state representative at 26.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm still the youngest Latina in Illinois for the state representative. So
that's wild, man.
Yeah,
when I heard all of that on the pod, on the other one, what was the lady?
Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
I was mind blown, because I'm like, what was I doing at 24?
Oh, we know what we were doing.
And then, well, yeah, people who listen to the pod, like, no te hagas, güey. Like, no, yeah, we were, definitely not doing that.
We weren't focused. So here's a question. Now, you did mention like the traditional politician, white male, kind of doing things for themselves. How difficult is it for you to like advocate for us, the Latinos, because obviously you're this one person trying to do good, but we know how politics work. How difficult is it to like move around and actually get things done where it matters?
It's still a little hard, to be honest. It is hard, but I'm very lucky that I came into a new family. We have close to, I think, 16 Latino legislators in Illinois, both in the Senate and the House. And we built a Latino caucus that actually that has been something that has been built for almost 20 years now. But it started off with 1 or 2 members for a while, and then slowly more Latinos would get into politics. And now we're up to 16. And it's great because we back each other up. If we see something going on or meetings, or like for public universities, we have meetings with public universities, and we ask like, hey, how many Latinos do you have working for you? Okay. They say like, maybe let's say 2. It's like, okay, that's not acceptable. That's not a good number. How many do you have in leadership roles? They're like, none. It's like, no, that needs to be changed. Like, we need more leadership roles. We need a president of university or something to be Latino. And we need to change that. And of course, representation matters in a lot of ways. I got involved in politics because of course, because of my family, but at the same time, I saw that were some Latinos involved. I saw Lisa Hernandez, and from Cicero and Berwyn area. She's been there for a while, but whenever I saw her name, her last name, and the nameplate in the House floor, I was like, okay, we have the same last name. That could be me one day. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna go for. But it matters. That was representation that I saw. I was like, I saw Latina already in there with my same last name, and I was like, that gives me more power to say, I want to do this. But overall, I mean, it is hard, especially as a young Latina. People see me as a kid, of course, even though I'm 30, but people still see me as like, oh, she's too young. You're going to learn. You're going to see this. You're going to do that.
Right.
And I get it. There's a lot of things that I still need to learn. I'm not saying that I know everything. There's a lot of things that I do need to understand and learn and be patient. However, there's certain things that can be done already, and we're still not doing it. Like, why is it so bad that I'm asking for representation, that I'm asking for more Latinos to be in college or in the workforce, or getting homes, or getting scholarships? Like, why is it so bad that I'm asking for that to happen? Like, we're announcing, I think the governor just announced today, actually, that he's going to give more money for homeowners, for mortgage assistance during COVID time. So every time we do that applications and so on, I make sure to pass it on to many people as I can for them to apply. And when the application process closes and they have the data, we do ask them like, hey, how many of the mortgage assistants were Latino? Like, how many people actually received that money? If they give us a small percentage, it's like, yeah, like this is not helping our Latino community. Like,
Let's keep rolling.
yeah,
Let's
like
keep pushing it.
Yeah, and that's something we've done. And I mean, with cannabis, we did that as well. We have the social equity part of cannabis. We don't want more white males being owners of dispensaries. We don't want that. We want more Latinos, more Black families to also own part of these dispensaries or the whole dispensary. But of course, that costs a lot of money. But we're trying to open a way that some of them can start and investing in that as well. So we're opening doors, but it's gonna take a while, and it's gonna take a lot of push because some people feel like that we don't deserve it, or people will. I mean, some Republicans will say a bunch of stuff. I think Darren Bailey. I just posted this today. He pretty much labeled immigrants as criminals, that we bring human trafficking, that we bring drugs, traffic drugs, and things like that. And so it's like, what are you trying to say about our people? Like we're hardworking people. Of course, there's some, like with everything, there's some people that maybe are not taking this country as an advantage and are committing some crimes. However, there's a lot of families out there that are working really hard to provide and to educate their families and just live a normal life. Like they don't want to bug anyone. They just want to stay here.
Yeah,
For sure.
survive.
I'm gonna take this time to segue because you mentioned crime. To segue into the Safety Act, which is pretty much the main reason why I invited you on the pod and because I told you about all the like misinformation that's out there, and we talked about this where it's like the misinformation. It's like these little clips, right? As far, especially for like the youth, it's like these little like TikTok videos, 30 seconds, and like, okay, that's it. Like this is what it is. Nobody actually really does any real research anymore. No one looks into anything. Not that I do. I try to, so I can't, I can't say it's everybody or whatever, but I'll also include myself in that category. But as far as the Safety Act was one of the main reasons overpopulation in jail.
It wasn't one of the main reasons.
Okay.
The main reason was that many people who are in jail because they can't pay a bail. So that's one of the main reasons, especially when it comes to like small crimes, non-violent crimes. Let's say someone stole food because they're hungry, they don't have money, they stole food for their family. Now this person, because they stole, they're probably going to go to get arrested. They put a bail that they might say like, let's say $5,000. Like you're going to be put in you're going to get arrested and then put in bail $5,000. If you pay those $5,000, you're out of jail. You wait for your court date. They'll determine if you go to jail or not, right? But if you don't have money to pay your bail, you're going to stay there until you pay your bail or until the court tells you what you're going to have, what's going to happen to you. Yeah. So that's currently how it works. And it's not fair for those individuals because then that person, because he was stealing food or she was stealing food, they needed that food. So how are you going to expect them to pay this $5,000 bail? But let's say you have money. You do have money. You have to have $5,000. Then you're able to just get out. So we're putting right now as it is, we're giving more power to wealthy people versus people that are low income and are committing these small crimes because of need. With the Safety Act, it will actually flip that. It will be the judges will determine if you do commit a crime. The judges will determine, hey, you are a risk to the community. So you know what? No bail, not even bail for you. We're just not gonna let you out. But if to that person that committed a non-violent crime, they'll be able to say, you know what? We believe that this is a mistake that you made, but we're going to let you out. We're not going to give you a bail, and we'll just wait for the court date. Of course, the judges will have a bit more discretion to determine on this. If it is a violent crime, then they can say, you know what, I don't trust you. You're gonna commit again. You're gonna do this, or you're stalking someone. You're gonna if it's a domestic violence case, like we don't think you're gonna stay away, so we're gonna keep you.
Right.
So that's pretty much what it is.
Okay. I have a two-part question.
Yes.
So just to go back to like the population thing in jail. So we don't have an overpopulation thing
I think
issue?
we do have a population issue in our jails. I think just overall nationwide we do.
Okay.
In the state, I mean, it's something that we do see, and it's unfortunate that many of the people in jail are minorities. So that's the population that we see. But however, this, of course, we won't be putting people in jail for nonviolent crimes. Once again, the judges will have that discretion, but also we're not going to be letting people out. Like people say that it's going to be January 1st and people are going to walk out of the jail. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. But people, of course, want to spread those rumors, scare people.
Of course.
They want to call it the Purge, and it's not the Purge. I mean, I've seen the movies The Purge.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be that.
No, and I think the last one, the Purge That Never Ends or something like that, I forgot. They target Latinos a lot. It's an immigrant. They're on the border of Texas and going to, and they're trying to target undocumented people. So why would I vote for a Purge that might actually target the minority community? And
Right.
I'm pretty sure I would be the first one on that list as well for a lot of people because of the bill. I recently actually got a death threat a week ago.
I did see that on
Yeah.
your Facebook.
Yeah, I got a death threat because of the Safety Act because I voted for it. And it's unfortunate to see that from people because some people are full of hate. But once again, this is not to try and hurt anyone in any way. It's just to help those that are usually the victims of the system.
Of course. So as I don't want to say as minorities, so I just think there's a lot of people who don't have faith into our justice system. So they don't think that judge will probably make the right decision. Like they're like there might be a quota now. You know what I mean? Like because that bail it's going to be on the judge. So if there's a quota, right? This is hypothetically like if there is something like that.
Okay.
But now it's like doesn't matter if they believe that we're not a harm to society, like it's our first offense or whatever. But to try to meet that quota,
Right.
we're not going to get bail. So how do you combat that? Like where like we don't, and I say we, you know, as just a whole, don't have that faith, that trust into our justice system, to our judges, who we feel like sometimes they are racist, you know, who will probably try to put us away just to put us away.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's a big, powerful thing that everybody can do. Judges are actually elected. So people can vote for them. People can vote them out. So, of course, research does get involved.
Yep.
We have our first female judge, Bianca Camargo. She's from Aurora. And you can elect people. You can elect Bianca. You can, if you don't like what she does, you can always also take her out. That's same as me. You don't like the job that I'm doing, you can put me in. Take me out. If you do, then you can elect me again. That's what we can do as a community and keep people accountable. So if we do see someone that is being racist or being unfair, then complaints can also be done. But also remember that in election and vote them out.
Gotcha.
So I think that's very important. I think that's something people sometimes forget, that it's not only the president, state representatives, the senators who will get elected. It's also judges and school board members, library boards, and all in townships and so on. So there's always these local politics involved, but people always pay attention to the presidential.
Right.
well.
Yeah, I agree. Also, so there is this one like main video, right, that's going around. It's like a mayor of some small town, I think, and I don't know. I thought it was a sheriff because he had like a little like star. on it.
Okay, yeah.
And he's the one
He's
who's
running for Congress, so this is his platform.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the video I'm talking
Yeah,
about
I
then,
believe so, yeah.
where he's talking like where if someone comes into your your home, your property,
Oh,
that the police cannot do anything. They could just give that trespasser a ticket. Is that true or false? Like under this bill, that's what
yeah.
that's what the TikTok is saying, right? That's like that small clip is saying where someone comes into your home, or if you have a shed and they stay there, like there's literally nothing they can do. Like cops are like, they're handcuffed themselves. Like they can't do anything. All they can do is just write a piece of paper, and it's up to you to get them out.
Oh,
And I'm just kind of like that would just kind of insane more violence, right? Like you would just
no, that's worst idea. No.
okay.
No, so it's not true to an extent. So technically, if it is a non-violent trespassing, yes, it can only give them a ticket. But if you do see that the individual's intent to hurt, to steal, they can get arrested. They definitely can. I don't know how many trespassing has happened in our area to determine. I don't think this is happening as often as people are making it seem like.
So when you say that, like non-violent, I'm thinking more like solicitation, right? More like someone's in your property, maybe trying to sell something. You're like, hey, leave, or I'll call the cops, and they could just give them a ticket. That's what kind of comes to my head. Violent would be like, someone's trying to come into your home, probably do some kind of harm.
Right.
That's where the cops can take them away,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right.
Yeah, or steal something. If they want to steal your like sign or something, then you can.
So
call
that's
the cops.
completely false then.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
okay.
Yeah. And they can't live in your shed. they will get arrested. If they peacefully just sit down in your yard, they can get a ticket. Of course, if they start acting violent, then I mean, they'll arrest them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because that was like a big
That's
one.
weird. I've never heard that somebody's sitting in your yard
Right, like
peacefully. That'd be weird, man. If I look in my backyard and somebody's just sitting there, I'd be pretty freaked out.
Well, that is kind of scary, right?
Yeah. I mean, that hasn't happened, bro. Knock on wood. It's IKEA wood, dude.
But that's the thing. Like many people make it seem like this is happening every single day. Like it's gonna happen January 1st. Like I don't know about you, but I don't have enough time to sit in your yard for the whole day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
of course.
So, and I feel like that's for the most part a lot of people as well. Like they don't have time to stay in someone's yard or bug them or whatever. And of course, if they start stalking, that's a whole different.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, and that's a whole different offense as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that more like in the city, right? Like a homeless person or whatever, just kind of maybe they want to just chill in your yard, I guess. Yeah. But I can see that more there. I don't see anyone coming over here and just want to sit in my yard,
No.
So yeah,
people in the city are wild though, man.
They are wild.
They will try to grill out with your own Weber grill, bro.
That's true. Hey, as long as they share, bro.
Even now, I live in downtown in a condo, and there's like a door that people can come in, and the second door is usually locked. We've had a lot of homeless people that stay inside the first door and sleep there. We call the cops. It is trespassing. They don't arrest them.
They
even
just
now,
wake them up and say,
"Hey, like you can't be here. Like get out."
And
So that's exactly what's going to continue to happen. Of course, if he got violent or started damaging the property, then they're going to arrest them. But I mean, it's happening even now. So that's why when people are claiming like, oh, they're going to live in your shed, they're going to they can move them. Like that's not true.
Okay.
That's not true.
And more than likely, these homeless people that they're seeing, it's probably the same person every time.
Yeah.
Because out by me, there's this one homeless person, bro. He's literally just moving around all the time.
Yeah.
So he's either on Irving Park, he's on 59. The other day I saw him on 59, like in Bartlett,
He's not bothering anybody though, right?
He's not. And one time it was like middle of the winter, dude. My wife went out to the grocery store and then she saw this guy.
Yeah.
Super cold out. And she got home and she's like in tears. I'm like, what's up, dude? Like, what's wrong? Like, you just went to the grocery store. She's like, no, I saw this homeless person. I wanted to stop to give him something. I'm going to take him blankets. I'm like, dude, calm down. Relax. Like, I don't think that's safe. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't do that. But then she's like, nah, I'm going to go do it. And she did. And the guy didn't even want the blankets.
Yeah.
He was like, he didn't want them. He was like, nah.
I love your wife. I don't know her, but I love your wife.
Yeah.
that's a pure heart right there. Yes.
Yeah, for real. And she went and she's like, she came back and she's like, no las quiso.
Yeah.
No las quiso las blankets. And there's that guy's all over our town pretty much. And like I said, in Bartlett too. And you just get to see them, I mean, people are dealing with their own,
It's a lot of mental health.
yeah,
It's a lot
their
of
own
mental
Oh,
health.
things.
100%.
I know
Yeah.
in Aurora, a lot of people, we have a tent city. We have a small area that people live in tents. A lot of people like to say that City Aurora is not doing enough, that the Hesed House is not doing enough. However, there's a lot of people that are going through mental health and substance abuse. They don't want to move out of their tent. They don't want to go. So we can't force them either to relocate to inside the shelter. Although we would love them to live in the shelter versus in the cold, but many of them don't want to. They don't want the help, or they don't want to cooperate, because Hesed House doesn't kick anyone out. However, if you do become violent to their staff or to others, I mean, they'll probably tell you, sorry, we can't keep you here. And then that's when the narratives start from saying that, yeah, they won't help me. They won't do anything for me. And it's like, no, that's not true. It's just you're not trying to give your part to help out and make sure it's
You don't want to be helped.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely people like that. As far as this bill, and I've heard it with other bills, both on the left and the right,
Mhm.
where it's like they said, and I say they because it was most likely someone on the right,
Mhm.
that this bill was passed at midnight. We had half an hour to look at it, and it was like 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
Like they rushed this, and that's
Yeah.
why it got passed. So, and I've heard it on both. So I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say it's just the right, it's just the left, or whatever. But I just heard it. Is this true? Like, do bills actually go through where it's like, here's a bill, half an hour, we're gonna vote on it, and then they have half an hour to read X
Right.
amount of pages? Like,
Yes and no. So how the Safety Act actually came together, it's a combination, it's a package bill. Some of these bills existed back in 2017. And a representative would always like try and get these bills passed. However, because it was hard, people wouldn't pass them because nobody wanted to talk about race, nobody wanted to talk about guns, nobody wanted to talk about certain things, right? Because of whatever reason it might have been during that time. So some of these bills existed a while ago. And they were always brought up. So when that time came, many bills were put together into this major bill that contained a lot of things. I guess it was like a bunch of ingredients that were laying around, but and tried to make something, but nobody would make something of it. Eventually, this day, they made a big bill, and it's like, okay, let's do this. Of course, they sat down with many people overall, with police officers, with state's attorneys. King County State's Attorney Mauser was also involved. She's still involved in those discussions now, and they revised it. Of course, it wasn't like a copy and paste. It was a copy and paste, and then it's like, okay, this line, yeah, we don't like this line. Let's put this instead, and they would put a lot of amendments to it, and that's how the bill itself was formed. So a lot of people do say like, oh, it happened overnight, but it was something that was worked on for a few months already, with looking into all these bills put together, sometimes years, because of those bills that already existed, but actually putting them together was months. Um, and that day, I mean, we had a lot of things going on. We had to make sure we were done by a certain time frame. It was our lame duck session. Many of the representatives that were there the next day, technically they wouldn't be representatives because they lost their race. So it's a great opportunity for many of us to pass anything we can during that time frame that maybe before they couldn't vote for it because they were scared that they wouldn't be able to win in the race, or explain this to the constituents. So so many of them, decided to do that. But that's why it was last minute, or last minute, but not really last minute. I mean, it was late. I was there until it was over.
okay.
And I remember I was told, okay, like, go to sleep. You get 2 hours, come back at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. And it was a long, long day. Because the next day we were sworn in again as a new class. Um, but of course, a lot of people see that, they automatically think it's suspicious that we're working late. It's something that we do. This past April 8th, that was our last day of session. I mean, we needed the budget to get done. So if we don't have a state budget, a lot of things won't get funded. So we couldn't go home until the budget was done. That budget was not passed until like 5 a.m. because we had a lot of bills to get through, and a lot of debates. Sometimes you feel like these debates are going to be easy, and then there's debates that last like 3 hours. Like,
Is this part of like your favorite, like one of the favorite things that you like to do, part of the job, or no? Is the least favorite? Because it
well,
doesn't sound like fun.
I do not like staying up till 6 in the morning, doing voting legislation and sitting on my chair. That is not fun, but it is something that I do somewhat enjoy because I know we're making history or in some way. I know that I'm very lucky to be where I am, because only 118 people get to vote, right? It's only 118 of the whole state get to press this button, yes or no. And I'm one of them. So, and from Aurora. So I'm very excited. I'm very grateful for this opportunity that people give me to continue to do this. Of course, it could be difficult because things like staying up till 6 in the morning, fighting, arguing, making sure that certain things are there for the community are placed in the bill. It is hard. Right now, I'm in the gun working safety group, trying to prevent gun violence. That's something that we're doing, and we started actually because of Highland Park. What happened with Highland Park? And I've been in discussions for every week for the past, I think, a month or 2 months now. But that's the same thing. We're looking into past bills that people have put in place that never got traction because people were like, no, I don't want to get gun people mad, right? I don't want to do this. So they're like, yeah, I'm not going to vote for it. So it's not, the bill is not popular. I guess that's what I can describe it as.
Right.
It's not, there's no traction. There's not, people see it as not as a need until something happens. And it's like, oh, nope, there's a need. Let's act on it.
Start working on
Yeah.
it. What is the bill?
So we still haven't presented it yet because we're still
So you
drafting
can't even
it.
talk about it?
No,
Okay.
I mean,
'Cause there's nothing set in stone.
we're looking into assault weapon ban, of course, AR-15s, banning high capacity magazines. That's the two main things that those bills already exist. However, they were never the bill alone wouldn't get voted on. But once again, we're putting it into a package and other stuff that people and officers are asking for. Like some officers are asking for drones, to expand the ability of them using drones. Because right now they can use drones to a certain degree, but they can't use drones to keep us safe in parades. Like they can't just put a drone up in the 4th of July parade and see if everything is okay. They can't do that. It's illegal. So they are asking us, hey, can you please make this legal so we can protect you guys a little bit more and have drones that can see on the rooftops and make sure that everybody's safe. So that's something that we're working on. I mean, we've been meeting with a lot of organizations throughout the few months, and that's pretty much what they did with the Safety Act for a few months. And of course, people might not hear this because it's not very newsworthy to a lot of people, right? That we're meeting. But I'm sure when the day comes and it's like, okay, here's a bill, people are going to be like, oh, this happened really quickly. This is not cool. You're taking my guns away. Like they're passing this at 6 in the morning. This is not cool, but it's something that we're currently working on. And I'm telling you guys, like we're working on
constant.
it. Yeah. But you probably won't hear a big commotion until the bill itself drops. And it's like, okay, we're going to vote on this.
Of course. And I want to get back to that real quick. But as far as the Safety Act, like what are some of like, I guess like the positives, right? I mean, because I did hear something like there might be more funding.
Yeah.
Stuff that doesn't get brought up, all the negative or
Right.
whatever they want you to focus on, that's what they blow up, right? So as far as like the Safety Act, what's in the bill that is positive or that?
Yeah. So currently, a lot of people like to call this bill also defunding the police. This is not defunding the police. This is actually giving police a lot of money. We're giving $200 million to police officers across the state for more equipment, crime, being able to crime solving, for training as well. we're asking for more training for officers to be standardized. Because sometimes right now, some officers, I mean, if you have a good police department, they might be like, okay, you know what? They might need the escalation training. They might need racial bias training. And they'll do it. They'll do it out of their pocket, out of their budget, and make sure they find the resources. But if you have a police department that doesn't believe in racism that exists, and they're gonna be like, that's not really important.
Right.
But no, like we put in place that we're asking more cops and police departments to be standardized with their training, making sure they receive a lot more mental health as well, help, assistance. It's very important, as we've seen. Many officers are committing suicide. Many officers are the ones creating domestic violence as well. So it's something that we need to make sure that we are helping officers, because they're dealing with a lot. I've been on several ride-alongs already with the sheriff's department, with APD, to see their jobs. I've been part of the Citizens Board, Citizens Police Academy, and it's a 10-week course every Thursday for a few hours, and I did it here in Aurora, and they teach you pretty much of what their job is, and they make you go like they do role playing in several ways. It's like, okay, the cops are actually the bad guys, and they dress down and they pretend they have guns and everything, and you're the cop going to this car, and another cop is actually saying like, okay, don't give your back. Make sure you're always putting your hand just in case, like just in case. Check and make sure check who's there. Beam the light so you can tell who's in the car. Like it was all that. And it was very important for me to see that, because I learned a lot of their job. And I know there's cops that are out there that might be the bad apples, of course, that are giving bad reputation. But there's a lot of good cops that do care about their community and do what they love what they do. So this is the Safety Act was never to damage their careers or to end cops or officers.
Defund them.
Yeah. It was to give them more resources, more authority to themselves in a way, not towards us, but towards themselves, and accountable, to make sure that they are also properly taken care of when it comes to a mass shooting or anything that happens in the world. I don't want to imagine anything bad, but anything that happens, they have the right equipment. Some equipment might be older. Some vehicles might be older. Cameras, they might not even have body cameras because they don't have the budget. And now, because of the state, we're asking them to have body cameras for 2025. So that's something that we're actually asking for as well.
And that's awesome, just because of the whole defunding the police. You know, that's what a lot of people think that's going to happen. Like, no, we're going to be in a city where like we have no cops. Everybody's out for themselves, you know, and they're going to try to take away our guns. Me and my at least myself, and I think Copanoy, we're for the Second Amendment. We don't have any rifles like that, any high caliber rifles. But what would, and I know it's not a bill yet, right? It hasn't been put together,
Right.
but it's like, what if the people that do have them, like, would they have to like just turn them in?
We're currently working on that. We've actually, we're wondering some of some pistols, some stuff, because some things are family owned, right? Your grandfather gave it to you, and it's a family heirloom. We want to make sure we possibly grandfather things in. For AR-15s, I'm not sure what we're gonna do, honestly. But when it comes to pistols, we're looking into like, okay, can we pass it on to maybe a son? So instead of a neighbor or anything, like, as if you have a gun, can you pass it on to your son directly and they can keep it? So that's something that we're looking into. What happened in Highland Park? The dad was able to co-sign for his child to get a Ford card. We're looking into that too. Like, is that something that we should be doing, or should we not?
Gotcha.
So it's a conversation that we're still having.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a lot. And we're gonna almost kind of already start wrapping up. Everybody went over like that. Oh,
Yeah.
the hour. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But one of my last questions is gonna be like, how do you see like our current state not just state of Illinois, but just the U.S. in general. Like, how do you
Yeah.
think we're doing? And not to like be like comparing as far as like presidents like Trump versus
Hmm.
Biden and whatnot, but I I think it's a little bit worse right now. I think everybody's kind of going through some hard times. Obviously, inflation
Yeah.
and whatnot. Like, how do you think? Like, is it getting any? Do you think it can get any better? I mean, I think obviously eventually, but it doesn't seem like it right now. And I
Right.
know Russia and Ukraine and the rest of the world affects us as well. So there's
Yeah.
nothing we could do. Whatever
Right.
goes on over there, I mean, it's not like we can control it, right?
Right.
We just gonna have to roll with the punches, I guess. But how do you see the current state of the U.S.?
I see it hurting. I do see it hurting. I mean, in many ways, right? Financially, spirits. I think our spirits are sometimes down when it comes to a little bit of everything politics. I hear in the doors whenever I knock on doors. They're like, "Yeah, we're not doing politics this year." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" Like, we should do politics because it's if we don't do politics, then other people will be controlling us. Other people will be mandating certain things, and that's not what we want. We want to make sure that we put people in that will believe our values, that are going to be doing the work for us. So I think overall our nation is very hurting. I mean, we had 4 years of Trump, and that created a lot of division amongst a lot of people. Like I said, I got a call saying a lot of nasty things, and I feel like before Trump, maybe this wouldn't have happened. People usually would have, maybe felt hate, but they would have suppressed it, wouldn't say it out loud. But now Trump gave them a platform to say, like, "Yo, yeah, you can say whatever you want. You can go ahead. It's freedom of speech." And I understand freedom of speech, but at the same time, certain things that I heard, it should not be freedom of speech. It's
It's hate
very,
speech.
yeah, it's very hard to hear it, and it's also hard to when I was calling the police department for this. I was like, I just can't believe how imagination people have on the things that they want to do to another person. And it's just I honestly, as a human, I was very discouraged that day when I heard that, because I was just like, well, what am I going to do? How can I keep my staff safe? How can I keep myself safe? How can I keep my family safe? But also was like, I love the people. I love the community. I love where I was born and raised. And to hear this from someone else, from another human being, I was just like, what's going on? What is going on in the world? So I'm hoping that soon, I'm sure, I mean, we saw it with 2007 and 2008 with the recession that we had. Um, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We might see it soon. If it is, I'm sure we're going to pick up again. We have to. I mean, we have to find a way to pick up ourselves.
Bounce
And
back.
of course, like you said, what's going on in the world is not helping us in any way,
Yeah,
because of course we saw that our gas prices went up.
yeah,
Because of that. It was not the gas tax like a lot of people are saying, because we saw the gas tax before that, and it was decent. It was like 3 something.
Yeah.
Now it's been 4 for a couple months now.
yeah.
So it was pre gas tax, but now with this, I think we see it a lot more, that a lot of people are just spreading hate. We're seeing that Texas is sending immigrants, Venezuelans, to Chicago, close to 3,000 now that we have, and we're trying to help them as many as we can, but it's hard. It's hard.
For sure. To end on a lighter note and a happy note or whatever, we love talking about food.
I do too.
and you're an Aurora local,
Right.
and like I said, I've moved here to Aurora like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
So I still don't know all the spots, and my compa Noe doesn't live here, but we do like eating, and
Okay.
we do like trying new spots. For you, is there any like top spots that you would recommend for us to go and try, or anything off
Yes.
the top of your head that you can think of?
So like I said, I wanted to be a pastry chef, and I love desserts. So one of the places I would recommend is Atrévete. It's on Montgomery, actually, on River Street, Montgomery. It's in downtown Montgomery, and they have amazing pastries, amazing coffee, amazing cakes and so on. They used to have a tres leches, envinado tres leches, so it was really good. But now they have cheesecakes, croissants, and things like that.
So it's more like a coffee shop.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's like a little
Okay.
coffee shop. But right next door, in their during winter season, it's Grumpy Gauchos, the empanadas place. They also have great empanadas. I believe they're not I think they're Argentinian. Yeah, Argentinian empanadas. And then of course, Bolivian empanadas are Alice's Corner on New York Street. But for tacos, Taqueria El Tío. I love Taqueria El Tío. It's good.
Where's that one at? I haven't seen
And
it.
it's on River Street in the corner, right by the library,
Okay.
on River and Benton, right by like a window tinting shop. Yeah, it's around that area. It's really good. Before the pandemic and inflation, they used to do dollar taco Mondays.
Oh man.
And you would see me there every Monday eating tacos. And now, of course, it's a little bit more full price. So I still go, but of course, I might not go every Monday as I used to.
Right. Favorite tacos?
Lengua.
Lengua.
Tacos de lengua. Yeah.
So those are good there.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I think they maybe because of inflation, they probably removed the lengua now.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah,
Remember
it
I was
is.
telling you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
We
they
talked about
used to have lengua and it was very good. So
Okay.
yeah.
Taqueria El
We-
Tío. I think she's
we
the
gotta try
first
it
one
out.
to mention. Yeah, to mention Taqueria El Tío here in Aurora.
Yeah, typically it would be like Durango, Taqueria
Okay.
Durango. Obviously our friends, our homies, Pariente Mix. We've had them on the pod. Delicious food. They just had a pop up with our sponsor Lumbermix. It was pretty good. It
really
was
good,
I think on the west side. I don't know my side. I don't know. I think it was the west side of Aurora. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty much 88
It was
in
on
Orchard.
Galena. No,
Yeah.
was it?
I think it's Orchard off Galena.
That's what I'm saying. But it was
yeah.
on Galena.
Yeah,
right?
on Galena, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say for tortas though, tortas I do really like Cinco de Mayo, bakery. There's
where's that?
yeah, it's there's one on Jackson and one on New York Street. No, not New York Street, Lake Street. And it's a bakery, but they started doing like gorditas in the mornings, tortas throughout the day, and they're big tortas. They're really good at tortas, and they give you like the soda and your chips, a whole meal for like maybe $15. So it's not bad, but it's a hidden spot. It's like a hole in the wall because people
Those are
don't.
the best.
Yeah. Those are the
People
best.
don't believe that there's gonna be tortas in a bakery. So
Yeah, I
it's
wouldn't have
great.
thought so. But that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
we got to try some of these spots, bro.
Yeah, we'll put them on the list.
yes.
Any last words before we wrap it up?
No, thank you so much for coming. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'll let you finish it off and see what you have for us.
Do you have anything for as far as like, do you want to let everybody else? I know you're going for re-election
I
on
am.
November 8th.
Yeah.
District 83. I don't know what that consists of. What area?
So because of census, every 10 years we change the maps. I'm gonna be the 50th actually coming up, the district.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
District 50.
So I'll lose 83. I'll be 50th. But the new area that I'll have is gonna be Aurora, North Aurora, and Batavia. So right now I only have North Aurora and Aurora, but I'm also gonna get only in King County, but I'm also gonna be expanding to DuPage County in Aurora. So, but yeah, November 8th is the election. Hopefully everybody comes out and votes.
Go out and vote, people.
Because it's like I said, it's very important. If you don't like the job that I'm doing, you have the option to vote me out or vote me in. If you do like the job that I'm doing, I hope people like the job that I've been doing. I've been putting my heart and soul as much as I can to this job, even putting my health in danger at this year. But it's something that I want. I mean, I want to do. It's something that it's passionate for. I love my community and I hope to continue helping. But hopefully everybody comes out because I know midterms. People don't tend to come out because it's not the presidential year. It's not the big
Right.
election, but people need to start focusing a lot in local elections because those are the ones that matter the most. I know we didn't talk about this, but I know the Aurora Casino is going to be possibly relocating to a new area. So if they don't like that idea, they can always vote what they want in the city for city council. And once again, these are elections that you will see the change. You will see an impact.
That are affecting
Yeah.
you directly.
Yes.
Yeah.
versus presidential. Presidential, you might see some stuff, but you might not see it right away, and not really close to home. So.
For sure. Do you want to share your socials or anything like that, or?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of social media. I have a rep, Barbara Hernandez, for Facebook, and that's my state side. For my campaign side, because I can't mix both of them together because that will be corruption. I have Friends of Barbara Hernandez for my campaign side, as well, and then Instagram, I have my personal one, and then I have the rep Barbara Hernandez Instagram. Twitter, I just have one Twitter, and I can post on both from that because it's only my personal Twitter,
Okay.
LinkedIn, and everything. But if people want to reach out to me on the state side for policy, they can email me at repbarbarahernandez@gmail.com. And if they want to get involved in campaign or go to fundraisers, they can reach me at friendsofbarbarahernandez@gmail.com.
Nice. And I'll make sure to link it in the description. That way people could just click on the link and just reach out, But thank you again for your time. We really
thank you.
appreciate it. This was definitely an experience for me. Like like I've told you, like we just started this pod about 2 years ago. Like I never saw ourselves like, sitting down with a state representative, so it's definitely like a milestone for us,
I saw your podcast. You guys talk about a lot of different topics. And
We're all over the place.
Which is great. It's great. So congratulations. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
guys
Appreciate it.
Keep doing it. Yeah. More people need to be aware of what's going on.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
November 8th, people. Go out and vote. And this is Compas Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening and for watching. Estamos locos. Deuces.